Hey guys, this is Azralynn with a quick review of Stories, The Path of Destinies. The game is essentially a choose-your-own-adventure game, but with a heavy focus on the narrative story, almost as if you're experiencing Groundhog Day until you get it right. Due to the nature of the choose-your-own-adventure format, there are multiple stories that can potentially take place based on the choices that you make. Most of the choices will inevitably lead to death in one way or another, but the narrative does a good job at making you think that this time you might be on the right path to destiny. The stories you experience will give you clues or truths to help you make the appropriate decisions to succeed. Throughout the game, the music and sound effects were great, but the main audio focus is on the narrative. The strong narrative was really done well, and it reminded me a little bit of Bastion, but I actually liked the narrative better in the Path of Destinies than I did in Bastion. In Path of Destinies, the narrator reacts to what you're doing and often makes snide remarks or references to other games or just cheesy puns. I didn't think that they were spammy or overdone, and I found them quite humorous and got a kick out of them sometimes. However, some people might not enjoy the snide remarks or appreciate them. The narrative is persistent throughout the entirety of the game. Each story playthrough lasts up to 5 chapters, and before each chapter you make your decision. Once a decision is made, you travel to that part of the world, and you're free to explore and find chests and find a way to your objective. The visuals throughout these worlds are done very well, but there was a lot of revisiting places you've already been to, and they were mostly the same with some very minor changes, if any. As you make your way to your objective, you run into enemies that you must fight and defeat to move on. The combat reminded me of a super simple and dumbed-down Batman Arkham-style combat. Your successful attacks and counters add up on your combo streak, but there wasn't any cool finishing moves that you could activate. The combat was very fluid and fast-paced, jumping back and forth from one enemy to another. The combat was also very forgiving, almost too forgiving. You didn't have to time your attacks or counters properly, and they were all done with the same button press. If you wanted to add some variation to your combat, you could also dash around, throw enemies, and grapple hook them. Using a controller is recommended, but I played with a mouse and keyboard pretty easily, despite the lack of control customization. There were 4 swords that could be crafted with unique activated abilities. Using these abilities costed energy, but I usually just saved my energy in case I needed to heal. These swords also unlocked special doors that had hidden chests and contained gems that you could equip. As enemies are defeated, you also gain XP and level up and unlock skill points. Between obtaining these new skill points and equipping gems, the combat gets even easier. Still, I really enjoyed the combat even though it wasn't very difficult. At first I really liked the choose-your-own-adventure format, but after discovering about 6 truths and then finishing the proper storyline, I found it got much too repetitive. I really wanted to go back and play the rest of the story paths, but before you make each decision, you have to sit through the opening dialogue and you can't skip it. I got really bored of listening to the same first few chapters just to make a separate choice in the later chapters. You can skip some of the dialogue at the end of each chapter and after you make the choice, but it just isn't enough to take away the monotony of hearing the same dialogue that starts off before you make each decision. I would have also liked to have been able to just skip entire chapters that I've already experienced all the decisions for, especially since I beat the game already. Each playthrough took about 45 to 60 minutes, and I really did like the game a lot for the first 6 to 7 hours. I continued to play for a couple hours after that, and I probably would have kept playing to discover all the truths, but not being able to skip all the things that I had fully experienced was much too tedious to sit through over and over again. It was still a decent purchase though, and I don't regret it. I hope this review has helped you. If you enjoyed it, please like, subscribe, and post your feedback in the comments below. Thanks everyone and have a wonderful day.